USS Black, a Fletcher-class destroyer, has sailed into World of Warship Legends at Tier 7 and is ready to wreak some havoc with her radar consumable. Sure, her name sounds pretty sinister, but does she have what it takes to back that up? Let's go check her out and see. Alright, so let's divide this video up a little bit. First, ship setup. We'll look at the different builds you could do. We'll do a stats comparison of the other Tier 7 tin cans, and then we can check out Black in action and talk about her gameplay. But first, let's set up the match in the background. Of course, we started by checking the boards. Always get in a habit of doing that. You need to know what you're up against. 4 enemy DDs, no radar cruisers. It is USS Black's dream. So we're going to move out pretty aggressively to the flank because there's not a lot I fear, and we're going to focus on rooting out the enemy destroyers and protecting our battleships and our flank. That is the best thing you could do if you spawn where I spawned. Alright, let me show you my ship setup and my commander. We are using aiming systems, prop, concealment, main, battery mod 3. Your free-to-play commander could be Bill Halsey or Bull Halsey, whatever you want to call him, focused on being a gunboat. As for me, I'm going to use Vincent Mordoff, the Halloween 2.0 commander with Observant Rage, Concealment, Perceptive, and Unstoppable. My inspirations are Billy Sims and Eric Bey. Now, some people in my Discord have already brought up using Albert Gleaves to buff the torpedoes a little bit, so let's take an in-depth look at what you gain and what you lose. 2.9 second reload with Halsey, that's with a maxed out Observant Rage. 3.5 seconds with Gleaves, so definitely 0.6 of a second slower. It doesn't sound like a lot, but by using Gleaves, you lose over 30,000 damage per minute, which gives you a similar DPM as the British Lightning, and we don't really think of it as a crazy powerful gunboat, so that puts it into perspective a little bit for you. What you gain, though, with Gleaves and the Atago Stealth Torpedo build that I usually leave on Gleaves is around a 16-second faster torpedo reload, puts you at 80 seconds. They're going to be 4 knots faster in the water, 47 knots. But mostly what you gain is torpedo stealth that lowers your torpedo reaction time from 8 seconds to about 5 seconds. Now, if you had him, her, it, whatever the heck Space Fishy is, you could put that on there as well and buff the torpedo speed a little bit more. I don't have that commander as an inspiration, but with Gleaves and Subsurface Venture, the torpedo speed is still absolutely terrible at 47 knots. Do whatever suits you, but personally I would advocate making this thing the most BA gunboat you could. The torpedoes are simply too slow to be a good torpedo boat. And you have that unique consumable with the radar that could make you one of the scariest gunboats at the tier. Speaking of, we popped our radar here as the YOLO Emilio was using his exhaust smoke. Now this radar only lasts for 13 seconds. On PC, I believe it was 20, so we got nerfed a little bit here. What's new? But even though it's only 30 seconds, really one of the points of it is to cause enemy DD captains to panic. That's what you're going for. You want to scare the enemy destroyer into firing their guns, because if they do, and one of your friendlies has a line of sight on them in their gun range, they will be spotted for 20 seconds, and that is a lot of damage you can shell out to them in the meantime. So even though your radar doesn't last that long, use it to make enemy DD captains pee their pants and panic. Moving on, let's start looking at those stats. Now, as always with my videos, keep in mind that my stats charts, all of my destroyers retain their original builds, and for starters, since we're going to be looking at HP first, most of my gunboat destroyers have Billy Sims, so their HP values are going to be buffed and quite a bit higher than, say, a torpedo boat. Now, 19,360, it's not a bad HP pool. It is exactly the same as the Fletcher, which makes sense, so it will fall behind the German DDs, Akazuki, and Friesland. Armor is essentially the same as any other Tier 7 DD, 19 to 20 millimeters of armor. There's nothing really notable here or different about the Black. Next thing I want to point out, though, Fletcher. If you remember, it's been a while, and I went searching for it on the internet, but honestly, I just don't have time to dig through all of the old updates. But Fletcher got a buff, and what she got was 100 points of damage added to HE and AP shell damage. And if I remember correctly, her shell ballistics were improved, so they were not so floaty. Now, Black isn't going to have those buffs. So shell damage, HE shells are going to hit for 1800 and AP for 2100. So if you go toe-to-toe with a Fletcher, you will lose. And that brings us right to DPM, damage per minute. It's a metric of how much damage you can deal in a minute of shooting your guns. No fires, no shatters, nothing like that. And Black is going to be a solid 200,000 on my build. So again, that puts her in 4th place behind the Friesland, Fletcher, and the Akazuki. And you just edge out the Loyang, which my Loyang again is a gunboat build. So you are not the biggest fish in the pond, so watch out for some of these higher DPM boats. And it just so happens that the Friesland and the Akazuki, the ones that have higher DPM, also have more health. So with the Black, you're going to have to play a little smarter to your strengths rather than relying on brute force against some of these higher DPM gunboats. Now on to the torpedoes. You have 10. My build, they reload in 96 seconds. Now I've been talking about how bad they are because they go 43 knots and they're very easy to avoid. There are a multitude of ships in the game that actually sail faster than that by a pretty good margin. So because of their slow speed, hitting targets at long range will mostly be a miracle. You can kind of think of them as the Italian cruisers. They're really just landmines that you're throwing out there. You can use them to zone out spots. But yes, 8-second reaction time when they're spotted. Your enemy's going to have quite a bit of time to react to them. What they do have is amazing alpha strike potential. Each warhead is going to hit for 21,600 damage. That's just under what a Shimakaze Torp could do at 22,000, blah, blah, blah. So if they hit, they will hurt. They also have really great range, 13.7 kilometers on my setup. So that can lead to some cool options as well. Just think where that battleship you were looking at is going to be a minute from now, and then you might have a chance of actually hitting them. Also, another little tip for you, aim for multiple lines of ships. So if you miss a ship that is closer to you, maybe you'll hit a ship a little farther back because again, 13.7 kilometers, that's pretty darn good. Moving on, the AA rating is 55, damage per second 125, and that's going to put you in 4th place overall, again behind Friesland, Akazuki, and the Fletcher. Top speed, it's not really good, 35 knots, and this is made worse because you have to give up your speed boost for radar. So, before you start your first game, you have to go to your consumables and pick the radar. Ask me how I know. And if you're not going to run the radar on Black, just go play the Fletcher. Like Fletcher, Black has the best-in-class turning circle of 560 meters and a really quick rudder shift time, so she's agile, nimble, she can bob and weave, and that makes shooting in open water at longer ranges okay. My concealment is 5.5, that's with Bey, and look at me now, so that is definitely serviceable. Alright, let's check back in on this match. The Emilio survived, and he's hovering somewhere over there around our base, and that's why I'm kind of heading back this direction rather than going towards their base. There is not a more frustrating way to lose a match than getting your base capped. On that note, a quick public service announcement. I just have to throw this out there. If you play Arena, the purpose is to garner XP, and you can best do that by getting damage. If you quick cap the base in the first 3 minutes of gameplay, no one gets good XP, and that's how you're rated on the leaderboard, so you just wasted everyone's time. Anyways, back to the Black. These shells are very floaty, so leading your target will be important, but it means you can use islands kind of like this to lob shells over, get free damage, blah, blah, blah. I didn't say it earlier, but just like Fletcher, Benson, Mahan, any other American DD, your fire chance is 5%, so you're not going to be setting a ton of fires. Black's playstyle. I think it's a great cap contester, scout, and will be a menace in domination game modes. You can easily stealth radar enemy destroyers, which means if you're spotted, hit the radar button, boom, you're going to have them spotted. With Perceptive on, you can already have your guns where they need to be, even though these guns do turn in 6 seconds. Black will be a very good knife fighter because of this turret traverse, because of the quick reload, and the radar. And of course you have American Smoke. If you have messed up, that can be your get out of jail free card. Now with that smoke, one issue I already see is captains of this ship getting themselves torpedoed while they're in their own smoke screens, because we may be used to using smoke and sonar combos from Loyang, Friesland, Z23, 39, 35, etc. And with that sonar, you have an early warning on your torpedoes, but radar's not going to help you there, so be cautious. Don't get torped in your own smokescreen. All right, well, as usual with the campaign ships and premium ships, I save my opinion for the end, and I'm going to give you that right now. But first, I would ask you guys to hit the like button. It would help support the channel immensely, and thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to give this ship a solid B+. You do give up a good amount of offensive capabilities when compared to your sister, the Fletcher, with her higher DPM and more serviceable torpedoes. But Black brings a unique playstyle with that 7.5 kilometer radar, making it one of the best cap contesting DDs in the game. Just ask this YOLO Emilio, and I'm being a little greedy, trying to get closer so I can get the kill. So I'm saving my radar. I want to make sure he's in the range to get the kill on him. Anyways, if you have a division and a close support cruiser behind you, you could ruin a lot of red team's days and do very well, but she has good solo carry potential as well. I think with the smoke and the radar, you have a decent chance of carrying. I think she's quite balanced, as Friesland, Akazuki, and Fletcher can still eat your lunch, not to mention the DDs like Fantask and ZF6 with their win buttons. But if you play your cards correctly, this is one fun destroyer. And again, like I look for in ships nowadays, after, you get to the point of having nearly 300 ships, you look for things that are unique and provide a different gameplay style. And Black absolutely scratches that itch for me. This is the ship that I kind of wanted when I bought the Orkan all that time ago. She's just a little more universally good, I think, and easy to play. Orkan just is not an easy ship to play, and you almost have to have a division. This one you can play solo and enjoy yourself. I think it is well worth 2,500 doubloons with Admiralty backing. If you can wait 5 short weeks to get her, it is totally worth it. And that is going to bring us back to this game. We're up on points. I know my IO is running from the Summers, and the reason we didn't chase him earlier was because he was at the edge of the map, not really doing anything important for his team, and I figured the Emilio would try to cap our base. But now, eventually, he has to come back in here to actually do something to help his team, and he's going to sail right into me. And if you know anything about the Summers, she's a fantastic torpedo boat, but not a great gunboat. Even spec'd heavily into guns, there is not even going to be a chance that he has to beat me in a gunfight, even with his full health, which looks like he has over 20k or roundabouts there. But these shells will make short work of him. So overall, Black is a keeper for sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think you're going to go for the USS Black, or would you consider the Independence at tier 5? It's kind of an odd thing to choose between a tier 7 and a tier 5, where the tier 7 has more value. I mean, literally on the market, it has more value. Anyways, I'm curious to hear what you guys think, and with that, we're going to fast forward it because I believe the last DD is AFK, and we're not going to get to him in time. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to the channel for future content. We'll have that Independence review coming out as soon as I can get around to it. Thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.